Motivational Drive-By, Coco here. How you doing? It is a spectacular, amazing day. I've been driving for an hour now. I'm just having so much fun. Today I want to talk about manipulators. Kind of like sub-caption, beware. There are people out there who, for one reason or another, call them socio-vampires, call them, whatever, there's all kinds of different terms. Historically, the concept of vampire may have come from the whole manipulation concept. But there are people out there who want it their way. And typically they're very superficial, very shallow, very, or they're very power hungry, which is kind of a cry for help as well. They have low self-esteem, things like that. But I don't want to get into the psychology of it because that can go on and on. But they do things, they find the buttons, they're gifted at figuring out how to get from people things they want. And unfortunately, a lot of us are unwittingly comply with these demands that they have for whatever it is they want. And it's tragic, but it happens all the time. You've got to be careful because a lot of times these are the people who will also run alongside you while things are going, and get you in trouble, and then all of a sudden they stop and they turn, and all of a sudden when the proverbial shit hits the fan, they're nowhere to be found, and they kind of raise their hand saying, "I have no idea what's going on here. I know nothing about this," which is, it's happened to me a bunch of times because I trust everybody, I believe everybody, but I've got a pretty good sixth sense on people who are going to manipulate. You can tell really quick, and it takes some time, and sometimes there's somebody you want to believe is good, and you want to trust, and you want to, and then they're the ones who all of a sudden you find out, are twisting and turning you, and unfortunately there are people who do that in relationships, who manipulate their lover and get their way, and really aren't lovers, they're just manipulators. But you believe you're in love. It's tough. These people are out to hurt you, and if you allow them to hurt you, they will. It goes with kind of like what I talked about a few issues ago. You might want to go back to being a lover. It's a matter of just giving and giving and giving and having no expectations of reciprocation. Don't expect anybody to give it back. You can't get hurt that way. And if you give and give and give to people, and then they wind up taking and taking and taking, at some point it. At some point these manipulators are nothing more than just people who take. And they never give back. Or, they give back a couple of drops and you're giving gallons. They give just enough to keep you giving. You might want to take a little bit of an inventory, and I'm sure you'll find a couple of people in your life like that. And maybe they just need you. There's people like that in my life, but I'm this really positive, guru-y kind of guy sometimes, and people need me, so I let this happen. But then again, I know what's going on, and I'm not taken in by the whole thing. See, that's the trick, and that's why I don't get hurt. But that's why a lot of people do get hurt, because they actually think it's sincere. They think people really care about them and love them, and then they find out not so much. So, that's interesting how dark it's gotten all of a sudden, and it's not. So, my point is, be careful of manipulators, and you'll learn very quickly if they're out to hurt you or not. And like I said, in some cases, like I say, in my case, I allow the manipulators around because, in that case, more often than not, they need something from me, and they just have a really bad way. They're not good at asking, so they want to manipulate it out of you. But I see it and I know it and I work around it. Most people have a real issue with that. So be careful, but when you give and give and give and somebody takes and takes and takes and they don't give back, at some point you got to cut them loose. All right? So have a stupendous, amazing day. Coco, out.